Okay, so I just got finished watching an RT documentary about CIA covert operations. It starts in 1951 with ergotine in the bread at a bakery in France where a whole village is said to have gone mad with hallucinations. 350 people were poisoned, 50 admitted to psych wards, and 7 deaths. Okay, so they've known the whole time. You know, we look at MK Ultra with the deaths associated with it, and so on. That people here they end up committing suicide. They end up going crazy. They end up dying and being poisoned and having long-term effects. The guy at the bakery actually was forced to confess under duress, probably under the direction of the CIA with the French intelligence agencies, and then eventually was let out. And they tried to test it for mercury, water poisoning, gas factories nearby, and it was none of that stuff. So remember, JFK was president during the period MK Ultra was taking place, in the early 60s, right? 61 to 63, I believe. Frank Olson, okay, was a chemical expert, and those accusations that he may have been part of a group that was spraying LSD on the bread. Now, what we do know is during the Nazi doctors, the Nazi trial. Now, this is very interesting because some of the people who are victims of gangstalking may have unwittingly signed, consent forms. But even if that's so, they still violate the Nuremberg Code. Bear with me. The Nazi doctors were put on trial, 22 men and 1 woman. 7 were put to death. 11 were given prison sentences. 5 acquitted. And this is when the Nuremberg Code came out, right? And it said that no non-consensual experimentations on humans, and also no experiments that cause physical or mental suffering or harm. Okay? So psychological suffering, which we see with gangstalking. So even if there are consent forms signed, which is pretty much irrelevant if it's covert. What's the point of having a consent form if it's a covert operation with people who haven't, who aren't told to keep a secret, So no matter how you slice it, what they're doing is immoral and illegal, and it violates the Nuremberg Code. Now, looking at the history of our army, at one point there was a radiation experiment that involved between 250,000 and 500,000 soldiers, and their radiation was put on them and it was brushed off with a broom. Also, the CIA tried to come up with a truth serum, and it was also designed to try to train people to kill. So, LSD itself was a rye fungus. It was derived from rye fungus, and that's what they think caused the bread poisoning in France, in a small village in France. Now, a lot of people talk about Sidney Gottlieb and James White. Well, usually they talk about Gottlieb. They don't talk about White. But there's another guy who's, it seems the RT. For what I infer from the RT documentary is that he's still alive. Okay, his name is James Ketchum. He was the head of the Biochemical Weapons Research Division in the Army. So I think that a good place to start with who is involved in gangstalking is look up all the chemical experts in your area. Army chemical experts, head of the bioweapons research, Google all these things, gather. These guys either are in on it or they know of it and they have information. Now, I'm not telling you to grab them by their chicken fucking neck. Motherfucker! You better fucking talk! I'm not telling you to do that. But I'm saying that these people know something. Anyway, as I was saying, so, of course, there was Project Bluebird and Project Artichoke, not just MK Ultra. Okay, so we're looking at Project Bluebird 2.0, MK Ultra 2.0, Project Artichoke 2.0, and the 200 to 250 plus sub-projects of MK Ultra being expanded on. Okay? Now, now, this is very interesting. The doctor, I'll get to that in a second. When you look at my gas mask, okay? When I made the gas mask video, I reported, and both sides look like this, that when I put on the gas mask, I felt funny. You know, now look at this side of the gas mask. I've known this for quite some time, that there was something off about this. It's a very nauseating smell coming from right here in the gas mask, okay? And this side is brown. Now you look at my old gas mask videos, this side wasn't brown. There is some kind of a toxic chemical in this gas mask that caused it to change colors. And when you look at the history, I mean, they're doing this shit, they're building on the research by the book. Those of you who know anything about scientific experiments, you keep going. You're basically, they were cut off short. They had to kind of, you know, rebuild and, you know, and catch them, and some of these other guys are still alive, and they had to build on what they were doing before, and they're doing it in a similar way. They're trying different drugs. The idea of finding a drug to defeat your enemies without firing a single shot never left their heads. Okay, and we see that with Mind War, right? From PSYOP to Psych War, Aquino, with, you know, and this is 1980, right? But when he's writing this document, he actually refers, you know, he's saying this is still going on, and he refers to things that happened, you know, in 2002 and so on. Let me give you an example real quick. Here's one from 1987, citation, where he's bringing up something that happened in 1987. At some point he brings up something that happens in 2002, which proves, oh, here we go, here's an introduction. See, this is an introduction by Michael Aquino, right, November 2003. I didn't have to find what he's citing because it says right there. So this shows you that they were still looking for that as late as 2003. Okay? Now, I was born in the early 80s. You understand me? Just like 5 years after MK Ultra officially ended, unless you go by the stupid 60s date, which has been utterly debunked. You know? So, yeah. There's more than just some evidence to suggest that this is going on. Now, 11 hospitalized, 1 dead. Oh, yes, okay. At one point, the Marines, during the MK Ultra area, actually did an experiment where they sprayed chemicals over San Francisco. 11 were hospitalized, 1 died from pneumonia. Okay, now, it's kind of interesting because you would think it was the Navy. It must have been some Navy collaboration with the Marines. In the documentary on RT, they said the Marines, but they were using ships to do it, so I think it was some kind of a collaboration. I don't really know that much about, you know, Marines' access to ships. I suppose they have their own ships. Who knows? Who fucking cares? Now, oh yes. So, you see, you know, LSD typically causes you to see brilliant colors. You have an out-of-body kind of experience as you feel with, you know, drugs, and I had that experience. I haven't seen brilliant colors that I could think of. Squiggly lines, no, I don't really hallucinate, but I do feel that drugged up, you know, very irritated, very angry. And he says that people who are prone to anger already, such as warriors, such as myself, who take these drugs, have a bad trip, and they have a flood of emotion. Anxiety is common. Aggressive feelings and agitation is common as well. And that was from the words of Ketchum himself, one of the main people doing it. So there's a bunch of ninny-ass chemists who know what they're doing is wrong. And I'm not going to say you should slice their fucking throats and fucking in front of their children. I'm not going to say you should beat them to a bloody pulp and then stab them in the fucking carotid artery. I'm not going to say you should bash their fucking head with a sledgehammer after you fucking make their wife watch, have a friend force her fucking head to watch and just smash, 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 and then kill the bitch too. I'm not going to say that. You know, because that would be savage, you know. It wouldn't be very, you know, that would be rude, crude, and socially unacceptable. But I am going to say that if such a thing happened to them, I wouldn't feel sorry for them in the slightest. Okay, now, my brothers in France, you know, how can you go along with this? You know, the people in the military, how can you go along with this? They did it to you, and you're sitting there doing it to Americans after they did to, what was it, you know, one of these cards, 250 to 500,000 men radiation experiment. Okay, 500,000 soldiers. They're like, thanks for signing up. Now you're gonna be fucking glowing, and we're gonna brush it off with a broom as if everything is okay. You know, just a bunch of complete ninnies. You know, just complete scum, just complete fucking chemical filth. And why do you think JFK was giving his secret society fucking speech in the first fucking place? Because he's like, look, there's a bunch of sick fucks out there. And he's like, how do I spell this out for you? Okay, look, we're at danger of imitating these people. He's like, look, hint, hint. There is a big ruthless machine out there, and we have a ruthless machine of our own that combines intelligence, military, scientific, you know, and all the other things he said, right? Intimidation and so on. Look, they're a bunch of fucking scum. And it is every righteous man's duty to stand up to such villains. Make no mistake. Those of us who consider ourselves righteous men want to resist these people. Now me, I'm already, you know, a very angry warrior-like person. But even right now, I am drugged with drugs that make me feel more agitated. And you know what these sissy pigs would do if they caught wind of this? And they thought that they could find reason, you know, cause to take me to the psych. They would take me to the psych ward. They'd take me right to some of the main people doing it. You know, because Olson and Ketchum, you know, one of them was a psychiatrist who was a chemical expert as well. The other one was a chemical fucking expert. You know, Frank Olson. MK Ultra was a bunch of psychologists, psychiatrists, and fucking shrinks pushing LSD on college campuses, 80 institutions, including 4 or 5 fucking prisons. And most of those institutions were universities and fucking hospitals. And some universities have, you know, are affiliated with hospitals such as Stanford Hospital. One of the first places I was quote-unquote diagnosed was Stanford Hospital. That's why I fucking know. We are dealing, you know, as much as nobody wants to admit it, there is an unholy alliance of vested interest. Everybody interested in, you know, national security and eugenics and mind control have all come together, okay? And everybody who's, you know, is materialistic and conformist, you know, they're helping them. And when you look at this, you know, some people are stupid enough to say, well, how are, you know, skinheads and Nazis and neo-Nazis involved with the Jews? Well, it's very fucking simple, you stupid fuck. Look at the Republican Party. They bootlick a little bit more to Israel than the Democrats do, okay? Just a little bit, okay? But the Republican Party consists of what? Some white racists, some, you know, neo-Nazis, you know, the KKK endorsing Trump, right? So there's white racists on record who talk bad about Jews, who are part of the controlled opposition, which is the Republican Party, on fucking record. Need I remind you, on record, not to bring up Christian Zionism or dispensationalism, but there is a movement that is aligning the CIA, a bunch of rednecks and military intelligence, with a bunch of Jews in the Mossad, okay? And they're working together. They don't necessarily like each other. They're not going to hold hands and fucking, you know, dance around a fire and sing Kumbaya anytime soon. But they're working together because it is an unholy alliance of vested fucking interests. So yes, there are large groups of white racists who have been recruited by their buddies in the military-industrial complex and Zionist-controlled opposition bitches that are fucking working with the Mossad and Israel, the butt buddies of the American fucking defense industry. You understand what I'm saying? There are gangs in the military who have recruited their friends because intelligence agencies know the intelligence on gangs. Well, how about you go get your Serrano friends? How about you get your skinhead friends to help us out? How about you get your fucking Crips and Bloods to help us out? Don't you see what's going on here? Especially the organized. They look for the organized groups first and foremost. What are the gangs that are known to keep their mouth shut and to bang on their snitches more than the other ones? Well, they're the prison gangs. You know, organized crime. You know, they can help them keep a lid on this thing. You know, because they're not perfect at silencing their snitches, but with the help of the intelligence agencies, learning from their mistake from Artichoke, Bluebird, and MK Ultra,